Zoom and boom, everyone. It is 5:30 Eastern Time on the East Coast. It is Wednesday, July 25th, 2018, and we are live for episode number 20. Can you believe it? Of According to Spiky Dash. Spiky Dash here with you. Wow, this has been such a long time coming. I cannot believe that this has finally reached this point of 20 episodes. And I wish it was actually a better episode because we're still in the thick of the hiatus of MLP Season 8. We're still waiting the anticipated return on August 4th. But never fear, there will be a little bit of pony to talk about at the end, toward the end. A couple other topics to talk about first. First off, again, disclaimer, apologies for this being so long away. When I started this series back 2 years ago when I first went to Winnie City, that's how this all started. A little bit of history from this. 2 years ago, this whole thing started with my first venture to my first ever convention at Winnie City in 2016, and that's how this series came about. All I was doing on this channel was just Fantasy Football Stock Report, which will return this year, and Tracking the Madness, which I plan on continuing. And then I do like little mini side projects, nothing too major. But once I started going to Winnie City, it became a bigger deal, and it became it's a little loud. Sorry, Shark Week this week. It became a bigger deal that I wanted to do something relating to the show that I had really become a part of, or part of the fandom, if you will. So I then created this show, and I love doing it, and I love talking about anything MLP related, whether it be the episodes or conventions or any other stories on like Equestria Daily and what have you. So it's fun, it's enjoyable to me, while also meshing anything else going on in my life, whether sports related, life related. It's basically the motto of this show is pony, sports, and life. That's pretty much what this show is, because it's everything that's going on according to me, and that's hence the title of the show. So it grew from Winnie City, and it's hard to believe that here we are 2 years later, and we're now 20 episodes into this. And I wish there was a lot more. My intention was for this to be 2 episodes every month. Unfortunately, with my work scheduling and with other events going on, and just time in general, it's kind of been hard to do that. But I am at least going to do one of these a month. The goal is 2, but at least put out 1. Now, with the stock report starting to come back next month, and again, I'll talk about that also toward the end of this episode, it's going to be a little bit maybe more challenging to do that, because again, every week there's going to be an FFSR every week. So there'll probably be at least maybe 1 ATSD, but 2 might be pushing it. We'll see how that goes later on down the line. But for now, I love doing these 3 series. For what I do on this channel. Will there be potentially maybe opportunities to expand beyond that? Absolutely, there very well could be, and there could be other videos that I do if I come up with any other ideas. But the main, I guess what I call the main 3, which is FFSR, Tracking the Madness, and this, I don't think are going to go away anytime soon. So. But yeah, hard to believe, and I tweeted about this on Twitter as well. It's amazing what can come out of a fandom like this. It's amazing what you can create from it, and and I've said this time and again, but that convention just inspired me to create this series, to get back into attempting to write fan fictions, to just do so many different things, and I'm very thankful for that. So. So yeah, I just, again, in general, to those who have followed this show from the start, to my followers in general who have been on board all the way, to any of you who view my videos, I cannot say thank you enough. I do this not just because I enjoy sharing my thoughts on these things that I love and my passions and my hobbies, but for you guys. And I can't thank you enough for your views, subscribers, all you guys and the fandom in general. So thank you. 20 episodes. Here's to many more. So on this show, this episode, going to talk about a lot of different things that have happened to me recently. I'm going to talk about a big movie that I saw recently. I'm going to start with that right off the bat. A couple more things about my local baseball team here. A couple of big shows that are going on right now. And then another big event that I attended earlier this month as well. So some big things on that. And then toward the end of the episode, there'll be more pony-related things. And also what's to come with FFSR for this coming season. So that's really the lineup. That is where we're at. So let's start with a big movie that I recently saw. And actually, what's interesting is, here's the thing. I haven't really seen a whole lot of movies this year. And I don't know if that's just because it's been like maybe a down year for movies in general, at least for the ones that I like. Like, I know there's been big titles this year, don't get me wrong. And I've seen a few. I did not see Avengers Infinity War because, here's the thing. I am a fan of the Marvel series, but I am not. Like, I'm not, like, fully vested in it. I only like a few of the characters. Like, I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I saw Black Panther, and that movie was absolutely outstanding. And any of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are usually outstanding. But I didn't see Avengers Infinity War because I'm not really fully vested in the Avengers story. And don't get me wrong, it made a great ton of money at the box office, one of the most successful movies of all time. It's same with Black Panther. But I saw another one recently that was very, very huge. Here's a little backstory. I have always been a fan of the Jurassic Park movies ever since I first watched them on TV. I think it was like part of like a marathon or something. They were showing all three, and I knew that I had to watch them before I saw Jurassic World because I was curious to see Jurassic World and see what direction they were going in, but I'd never seen any of the Jurassic Park movies. So when I saw this, I forget what channel it was, but when it was airing all the first three back to back this day, I felt like, okay, I got to watch these because I got to catch up. So, and I will say I really enjoyed the first two. I love the original Jurassic Park is timeless. It's a classic. And I love that movie. And the second one, Lost World, was, not as good as the first, but still decent. The third one, I will agree with a lot of people. That's kind of like the weakest installment of the bunch. It's not, it's not the best. It's very weak on its own. But something just keeps me coming back. Whether it's the dinos themselves, whether it's the storylines of the plot, whether, what have you. Something keeps me coming back. And I did see the first Jurassic World. And, while it was a decent movie, don't get me wrong, and it made a ton of money at the box office as well. It was a smash, and deservedly so. But it left me with a lot more questions at the end of the day than answers. Like, it just kind of ended weird. It left it open for a sequel, don't get me wrong, but it left it open a lot of questions. But this sequel, Fallen Kingdom, went far and above anything the original did. The plot, easy to follow, although a little bit predictable in spots. And the first movie was kind of the same way. Like Jurassic World was very similar too. It was a little bit predictable at certain points throughout the movie. Like you knew the villains were going to get theirs, you knew the Indominus Rex was going to cause trouble, that kind of thing, yada yada yada. You knew Claire and Owen were going to hook up. The kids were going to get lost or what have you. You kind of know some of these things from far away. But plot easy to follow. Dinos in this movie were absolutely awesome, especially Blue. Okay, the raptor, absolutely my favorite character. I was like cheering for Blue throughout the whole film, like because yes, Blue is a female. I did not know that, honestly. I'm gonna be honest. I did not know that until they kept referring to Blue as she, and I'm like, wait, Blue's a chick? And we go, yeah, you didn't know? I'm like, no, I never knew that. There was no indication, at least not to me, in the first film of that ever being the case. But apparently Blue's a chick, so who knew? But yeah, she was amazing. Saved our heroes on multiple occasions throughout the film. And I know there's spoilers in this. For fair warning, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to give a little bit, not totally, not the whole thing, but occasionally a few here or there. So be warned. Yeah, she was just incredible, and our characters were just great as ever. So, so if you have not seen the movie, I'm going to forewarn you now. Here's the point where I basically kind of share the story. So if you have not seen the movie, I will warn you now, you probably want to mute this part. Like, find a way to mute the volume. If you're watching it back on like an on-demand, mute the volume now if you have not seen the movie, because I'm going to share with you basically now the story, because the story is just amazing. All right. Everyone's muted that's muted. We're giving you a chance. Last chance. You don't want to hear. Okay. Here's the story. Shortly after the events, this is from Wikipedia, by the way, so full credit. Shortly after the events of Jurassic World, a small team of mercenaries arrives on the abandoned island Nublar, so where Jurassic World, used to be, to collect DNA from the remains of the Indominus Rex at the bottom of the lagoon. Because you'll recall, at the end of the first movie, the Indominus Rex gets, pulled under by the big, or is that the second, or is that the sequel? I don't know. It might, Anyway, it's at the bottom of the park's lagoon, so I think it got taken under the water, I think. After successfully collecting a bone fragment, the team survivors barely escaped the island following attacks by the Mosasaurus and the Tyrannosaurus Rex. So they're still roaming around on the island. Then 3 years later, a U.S. Senate hearing in D.C. debates whether the island's dinosaurs should be saved from an impending volcanic eruption. So the volcano's now active on the island, and potentially they could be all wiped out again. Then Dr. Malcolm, once again, brilliantly played by Jeff Goldblum, although he's not. Here's the thing. This is the first time really where Dr. Malcolm kind of takes on like a secondary role. Like, he's no longer the focus. Like, he's more of a cameo in this film. He's not, and he's kind of the same way in the video game based on the movie. He's more of like the narrator, the guider, the guy, kind of like a guidance counselor role, if you will. He's just taking more of a secondary role. And he testifies the dinos should be allowed to perish to correct John Hammond's mistake of cloning them. So he wants them wiped out. Meanwhile, Jurassic World's former operations manager, our good old Claire Deering, has created the Dinosaur Protection Group to save the animals. So obviously Claire and her friends want them saved. After the Senate rules against it, though, against rescuing them, Hammond's former partner, Benjamin Lockwood, summons Claire to his Northern California estate. And that's where things get really interesting from the start. Lockwood and his aide, Eli Mills, reveal a plan to relocate the dinosaurs to a brand new island sanctuary. Claire is needed to help reactivate the park's dino tracking system to locate the animals, particularly Blue, the last living velociraptor. So remember, Blue is the only one to survive in the original film. The other three, didn't make it. So Blue is the last one left. So she obviously is vital to this whole thing. But you'll later find out she's more vital than you might think at first. Although they are estranged, right? Estranged. You'll later also find out that's a bunch of BS. Claire recruits Jurassic World's former Velociraptor trainer and Blue's alpha, Owen Grady, again, brilliantly played by Chris Pratt, to help capture her. On the island, Claire and former park technician Franklin Webb get the tracking system online. Owen, paleo-veterinarian Zia Rodriguez, and a mercenary team led by Ken Wheatley search for Blue. Upon finding her, the encounter escalates, resulting in a mercenary shooting Blue and Wheatley tranquilizing Owen. So then this is where it gets really, shady right away, because then you realize, oh, wait, there's got to be something bigger here it's in mind. The mercenaries take Zia so she can treat Blue's injury. Their ship departs for the U.S. mainland as the animals left behind die in the eruption. Aww. Claire, Franklin, and Owen sneak aboard in time and assist Zia in transfusing Blue with Tyrannosaurus blood, so thankfully Blue gets saved. The group now realize the captured dinosaurs were never being transported to a new island. Well, no, Dippy. And are for another purpose. Yeah, they quickly figured that crap out right away. Back at the estate, Lockwood's orphaned preteen granddaughter Maisie overhears Mills and auctioneer Gunnar Eversole secretly planning to auction the captured dinosaurs on the black market. Ding, ding, ding. Here's our villains, folks. Gee, was it ever more obvious? They will also unveil the Indoraptor. So, yes, they found something stronger than the Indominus even. A new genetically engineered dinosaur created by the same geneticist, Dr. Henry Wu, the same guy, using Indominus Rex and Velociraptor DNA. What could go wrong? Wu wants Blue's DNA to create an enhanced Indoraptor, unaware that Blue's blood is contaminated. After Maisie informs Lockwood about the auction, he confronts Mills, who murders him. Yeah, that goes over well. So you know again right away that Lockwood is up to, that Mills is up to no good. Maisie later revealed to have been cloned, even an even bigger twist, from Lockwood's deceased daughter, and is the reason John Hammond, who opposed human cloning, ended their partnership. Whoa, bomb dropper, okay? That was like, I was looking at the screen going, what? Say what? I mean, you know, that crazy. Crazy. The dinosaurs are transported to Lockwood's estate and caged. Zia and Franklin evade capture, but Owen and Claire are apprehended and confined. Of course they are. Owen incites a Stigmalok, I think is how you pronounce that dino's name. It's this big looking weird thing with a weird head, okay? It's a weird looking dinosaur. Into breaking open their cell. They find Maisie, who leads them to the auction where the Indoraptor is being sold despite Wu's protest that it is a prototype. Again, what could possibly go wrong? Owen disrupts the proceedings by luring the Stigmalok into the room. In the ensuing chaos, Wheatley tranquilizes the Indoraptor to extract a tooth as a trophy, but it feigns sedation because it's a smart little bastard, and escapes, killing him, Eversole, and others. The Indoraptor hunts Owen, Claire, and Maisie throughout the mansion. Then Zia releases Blue, who attacks the Indoraptor, causing it to fall through a glass roof to its death, which was an awesome action scene, by the way. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie when Blue killed that Indoraptor. Best scene in the whole movie. But when a hydrogen cyanide gas leak threatens the caged animals, Maisie is unable to let them die and frees them despite Owen's warning. Claire was thinking about doing it, then she said she couldn't do it, and then Maisie did it instead. That opens the door, of course, for the third installment, which we know now is going to happen. Mills is killed and the Indominus bone destroyed by the Tyrannosaurus. Owen, Claire, Maisie, Zia, and Franklin safely get away, while Blue and the other dinosaurs escape. In a new U.S. Senate hearing, Dr. Malcolm declares the beginning of a Neo-Jurassic age where humans and dinosaurs must learn to coexist. The closing scenes show the freed dinosaurs roaming the wilderness and outer urban areas. Yeah, so that definitely sets the page and sets the tone for the third installment of the series, which I believe will be coming in 2021. So it remains to be seen how Maisie's decision is going to impact things going forward. That remains to be seen, but I gotta say, it definitely leaves me intrigued. This was a wonderfully done sequel. Actually, I like this film a lot better than the first Jurassic World, which is saying a lot considering, you know, again, I liked the first Jurassic World. Don't get me wrong, I liked the first Jurassic World, but it left me with just too many questions. It left, you know, and maybe that was the point of it, because they knew a sequel was coming. So, but this leaves, yes, we know now the third installment is coming, so we know the door is open for this third installment, so we know what is going to happen. But now the question becomes what Dr. Malcolm said. How are the humans and the dinos going to coexist? How is that going to impact everything? So I'm sure that will be the subject of the third movie, and now that all these, and then the question, I guess maybe another question will become now, with all these villains getting killed off in this film, will there be I'm sure there probably will be, but who will be the villain emerging in the third movie? And Maisie, what is her role going to be in all this? We now know that she is a clone of the original daughter, and that ended the partnership, and that led to Lockwood, I guess, wanting this, or Mills wanting this revenge and then killing off Lockwood. So what is to become of that? So, are Claire and Owen still gonna, the question is still on, are they still gonna get together? Are they still gonna be a thing? Are they gonna adopt Maisie? Yes, there are a lot of questions, but not as many still kind of like flooding my mind as was the first movie. This movie did a good job with its pacing, with its story of just, getting things out there. So I applaud it. Great job. And the film is making a killing at the box office. No pun intended for the dinos. It's already made nearly $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B. $1 billion worldwide. It is already the 16th highest grossing film of all time. Now, granted, it's still behind the original Jurassic World because that made $1.6 billion and it's fifth all time. But this is only in a few weeks. Like, the movie just came out a couple weeks ago, and I think it was like toward the end of June. So it's been out for a little more than a month. So in a month, it's made over $1 billion worldwide. That is absolutely outstanding. Now, granted, most of that take is from international. It's only made like 360 million of that domestically, but still, to make over $1 billion worldwide is a huge accomplishment. And already, it's the third highest grossing film this year, behind only the two movies that I mentioned earlier, Avengers: Infinity War, which is fifth highest grossing all time, I think, or fourth, and Black Panther, which is ninth highest all time. So, bravo, great job by the team on Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, because they did an outstanding job. So kudos to all of them. Great job. Love the movie. I think I gave it either 5 stars or 4.5. Pretty close to perfect. Great stuff. I look forward to the third installment with much anticipation here in 3 years. I cannot wait to see what this story leads into. Moving on, let's talk a little baseball. Let's talk more about my local team here, not too far away from me, the Kokomo Jackrabbits. I wish you guys could see it, but I actually have a flag now. There's in my room, a couple rooms down before you get to the upstairs stairway, I have a big flag on my wall. So it's pretty cool looking. But yeah, the Kokomo Jackrabbits in the Prospect League, they now are starting to literally crush the competition this season. And it's tough because I'm only able to attend 3 games so far this year at home. That's been tough, mainly because finances have been a little rough. Nate and Sarah next door are struggling just a little bit. So with them living next door to me now, it's kind of like their life affects my life. So it's like a little bit of difficulty there, but I would have attended 3 games this year so far, and I'm 1-2 at those home games. But recently, the Jackrabbits are doing an outstanding job protecting the home turf at Kokomo Municipal Stadium. They've won 12 of the last 14 games at home. They're 19-5 this season at home, which is outstanding. But it's safe to say they're having their best season in team history thus far, and only their 4th year of existence. Going into this week, the Jacks were 27-20. Now they're 29-20. They're winners of 5 straight games, and they're now, I think, either a game and a half or 2.5 games clear of Chillicothe for first place in the East. So that is absolutely huge that Kokomo is doing this well. And it's funny because normally in the second half of the season, The team actually tends to tends to regress. And that's mainly because most of the roster tends to leave the team for whatever reasons those may be, whether it's need to go back to school or just aren't coming out on the roster, what have you. They tend to they leave the team, and that's kind of what happened last year. Last year was like a mass exodus of players leaving, and especially the good pitching staff. Kokomo were one of the best pitching staffs in the league for most of the year last year, and during the first half of the season, they were well competing on their way to potentially being a playoff team, winning a division title last year as well. And then second half of the season hits, and bam, what happens? Most of the team leaves, especially the good pitchers. So it was tough to watch the team just completely fall flat in the second half last season and then miss the playoffs entirely because of that happening. But so far, the good thing with this year is this unit is mostly staying very cohesive. So that's not disrupting team chemistry at all, which is absolutely outstanding. So the fact that they still have a lot of the same players to start the season with, that's always a positive. When team chemistry is always very important. When you can keep the same guys there, you develop a camaraderie with each other in the dugout and during the games and even off the field, and the same guys are showing up night after night. That's huge. So that's great. Now the Jacks really Kokomo hasn't really been. They really have not been an offensive juggernaut except for the last 5 games. The last 5 games, Kokomo actually has put up double-digit runs multiple times, and they've had 5 straight games, all those wins with double-digit hit totals. So the Jackrabbits are starting to find their offense. Normally, they're not a very offensive team because that pitching tends to really save them in a lot of games. But this time around, wow, they are really starting to hit their stride and find their offense these last several games. But they've always been strong defensively with the solid pitching staff, and the fielding has also always been very, very strong. They did have a lot of mistakes early on in the year, but again, trying to build that chemistry with the mostly new roster. There were only like 3 or 4 returnees from last season, so they had to really rebuild from the ground up, and that's usually what happens in these summer collegiate leagues. Most of the time, you won't find a lot of guys coming back season after season, so you got to relearn a whole list of new names, new faces, and then kind of pick out who you like, I guess, in a way. But it's about rebuilding from scratch, and Kokomo has done an outstanding job of doing that this year. And again, I mentioned pitching was a bugaboo for the team last year because, again, late in the season, the pitchers that were left, the starters and relievers that were left, really let the team down because they were just giving up too many runs, too many hits, making too many mistakes. It was bad. But this year, it's looking like it's a really, really solid group. And here's the thing, too. Kokomo is really trying to end their time in the Prospect League on a high note. Yes, you heard me right. This year will be the last year in the Prospect League for the Jackrabbits. Why? Because they're moving up in the world. They are going to the way bigger Northwoods League next year in 2019. So the Prospect League has given the Jackrabbits a nice foundation for their first 4 seasons. Obviously, the city of Kokomo has embraced the team, massively right out of the box. They're obviously always been one of the highest attendance figures in the Prospect League, usually at least I think 3rd highest in the league usually in attendance. Kokomo Municipal Stadium is one of the most gorgeous facilities in the state of Indiana, if not the country. It won back-to-back best of the best in Ballpark Digest Summer Collegiate 2 years running. So clearly, bing, 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 so many positives for the Jackrabbits. So it only makes sense for them to step up and go to a bigger league. It will mean more competition. There'll be 22 total teams once the Jackrabbits join the league next year. So that'll be huge. And there'll be more travel opportunities because here's the thing. Kokomo is going to be the southernmost team in the entire league. So there's going to be a lot of teams up north. So now hopefully they'll be in the Southern Division because if they're not, hello Canada, because all the Northern Division teams are all up in Canada. So if they're in the South, they'll play teams like in Minnesota or Wisconsin, or what have you, or in that area of the country. So, but this is huge. So, so the Prospect League, like I said, is giving the team a nice start. Kokomo's embraced the team, but I really can't say at the end of the day I'm surprised by this move. The Jacks have shown they can compete, and really some better competition, I think, in the short term and or long term is going to be better for the team. So I can't wait to see what these new teams and new opportunities are going to bring for the Jackrabbits down the road. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Now this season, with the season winding down, there's only a few games left. The playoffs are around the corner. I don't know if I'll be attending more regular season games this year for sure. But certainly if this team makes the playoffs, I definitely want to be there. I definitely want to at least make a couple playoff games for sure to see how this team's time in the Prospect League ends. So stay tuned for that. I really want to see where this goes in the future. From one sport to another, let's shift gears from baseball to football. Football season is right around the corner, and really with me, especially these last few years, many think, training camp's the official kickoff, or the preseason is the official kickoff, or even the fantasy football draft is the official kickoff of football season. And maybe for some of those reasons, yeah, it kind of is for a lot of people. But for me, and now this year with my buddy Matt going with me, one event really kicked off the football season for us, and that was the NFL Mascot versus Peewee game in Carmel. I made I attended the event for the first time ever last year when I got the day off on a whim. Didn't even request the day off. I had the day off on the calendar, and I lucked out. So it was a wonderful experience all around. It could not have been a more fun day. Seeing so many of the mascots I already knew, like Blue and TD from the Dolphins, meeting him was awesome, and Toro from the Texans, Blitz from the Seahawks. A lot of my favorites were there last year. And then the game being thrilling as it was, ending in a thrilling tie game. It was so great. And then getting pictures on the field afterwards. Just an awesome experience all around. And this year's was no exception. It was just, and now a lot of the mascots this year were actually returnees from last year. So that was nice to see a lot of them coming back. TD didn't come back this year, unfortunately. I was a little bummed about that. But there were a couple other, new surprises. So that was cool, and I'll mention that. So yeah, and this year actually, it was even kind of an added bonus because this year's game on July 12th was one day before my 32nd birthday. So that made it all the more special as well to have like a day before birthday fun event. And this year Matt tagged along. Nate was going to come with, but he had a Special Olympics call out that day for flag football and softball. Didn't want to miss that. Understandably, he's switching counties now that he's moved here. He's jumped from Carroll County to Cass, and he's catching on with the softball team right away. And I mentioned on Twitter that he's got a tournament this weekend on Saturday, so wish him luck. So that's why he couldn't go. Weather this year couldn't have been any more perfect. Last year it was a little cloudy. There was a bit of a threat of rain last year. Thankfully, that held off. This year, perfect conditions. Was a little bit on the hot side, but still an outstanding day. Absolutely amazing. Perfect all around. Like I mentioned, most of the mascots there were returnees from last year. Of course, Blue being the host was back. Swoop from the Eagles was back this year. And a lot of people, of course, were very happy with Swoop because the Eagles, everyone was telling Swoop, thanks for beating the Patriots last year. So everyone was happy to see Swoop. Toro was back this year. Sourdough Sam for the 49ers was back. Blitz was back, which was awesome. T-Rack from the Titans was back. That was awesome. All the AFC South mascots were back. So Jackson DeVille from the Jaguars was back. Rampage from the Rams was back. One of my NFC favorites was there. He was back this year. Freddie Falcon from the Falcons. Sir Purr from the Panthers, who won 2 awards. He won Video of the Year and Mascot of the Year. So congrats to Sir Purr on those honors. I think Blue also won a couple awards. So did Jacksonville. So I know Blue won like Anchor to the Community, which was awesome. The Dan Mears Lifetime Achievement Award, that was awesome. I think he won Skit of the Year. I know Jackson won Stun of the Year, which he usually always does because, hello, he jumps off a freaking light tower to enter the stadium. That's absolutely awesome. So let's see, who else was there? Poe from the Ravens was there. He was cool because as you're going through the AFC autograph or the first half autograph line, you can actually hear Poe whistling, like tweeting like a bird. That was cool. And then Victor from the Vikings was back this year too, so that was awesome. So a lot of returnees, but there were a couple surprising exceptions. There were a couple newbies, but one surprising exception. There was a hockey mascot there. You heard right. Bailey, one of my frenemies from the LA Kings. Yes, you guys know me on Twitter. I'm not exactly a big Kings fan, me being a fan of the Ducks and the Sharks. I'm not exactly I'm not a Kings fan, but I do have a little bit of respect for Bailey. I think he's actually one of the cooler mascots in the NHL. His Twitter following is massive. He is a bit cocky. I don't like his arrogant attitude, but that's just how he is. And, and he was actually specially invited by Blue to attend, which was awesome. So kudos to Blue for doing that. Kudos. I even said, again, they're going through the autograph line. I even said to Bailey, hey, welcome to Indiana. Welcome to my home state. It's great to see you again. I met you in Nashville. Great to have you back. Great to have you here. So that was cool. So very, very cool. After the game was over, I got full pictures with – I got a couple group pictures with as I was going through the line. I got group pictures with – let's see, I got pictures with Toro and Swoop. I think with Freddie and Sir Purr, with Bailey and Victor. I got one with Rampage and who was with Rampage? I forget who was with Rampage, but I think I got one with Miles and Staley DeBear from Chicago who was there. The funny thing was Staley wasn't even on the poster. Like you see Staley's van pull up, but you don't see him on the poster, which was kind of weird. So I got a lot of group pictures and then a couple individuals at the end with and I never had a full picture with Blue before. I got a selfie with Blue when I met him in Monticello at the Colts in Motion tour a couple years ago when he was there for his book, and he was signing copies of his book, Blue's Road Trip Through Indiana. And I met the guy who plays Blue, Trey Mock, who is an outstanding individual. He's super nice. He's one of the nicest guys. And when I got him to sign his book, when in Monticello, he even he said God bless you. So he's a Christian, which is awesome. Have a great day. He's just super nice. And after I got the picture with him this year, I hear him say through the suit, he says, "I appreciate you." If that isn't awesome, I don't know what is. The way I see it, I know what I am. I'm a Mascot super fan, always will be. I follow 100+ on Twitter. I follow a lot of them on Instagram, a lot of them on Facebook. But honestly, from my perspective, I don't know how well known I am in the, fraternity. I don't know, if I'm really that well known. But I think it's clear that at least some of these mascots know who I am. Like they know me. Like I'm pretty sure Jackson the Jackrabbits, being enough times in the game, he knows me. Blue obviously now knows me. I'm pretty sure now Toro knows me because I'm pretty sure Blitz knows me because there was a couple moments in the autograph line that were also very cool. Besides that moment on the field with Blue, there were a couple moments in the autograph line when I was talking to Blitz. I said, because Blitz was my co-MVP last year along with TD. I said, hey, looking forward to another MVP performance this year. And Blitz right away goes, he goes like this, like yes, that's my guy. And we fist bumped, and that was so cool. So that was awesome. That was cool. And then when I saw on the second line, Toro was right at the start of the line with Swoop. And people were giving Toro crap and hassling him because, of course, being in the Colts' backyard, people were going to give Toro crap, being the division rival. But I said, hey, I'm glad to see my favorite bull again. I'm glad to see Toro. And right away, Toro gets up out of his chair and gives me this big hug. And I'm like, oh, yes, awesome. I love that. So that was great. I'm so thank you, Toro, for that. I love it. I love my favorites. I love interacting with them on Twitter. I love seeing them in person. It's so awesome to see guys like Toro and Blitz and Blue and Rampage and Victor again. It's great to see them. So the AFC was represented this year by Blue, Toro. Miles from the Denver Broncos was there. I was not expecting to see Miles because last year Miles was on the poster and wasn't at the actual game. But Miles was there this year, so I was pleasantly surprised to see Miles in line. And we had a cool moment, too. I said, hey, Miles, great to see you. Great to see you this year. And then we did the fist bump and went, boom, like this, like, oh, hot. So it was great. It was great to see Miles. So I was very impressed to see him. T-Rack, of course, was there. Got a picture with him after the game. T-Rack's so cool. He's, I think, one of the more unique mascots in the league. So it was good to see him. Poe, of course, and Jackson DeVille. The NFC was represented by Swoop. Sourdough Sam for the 49ers, again, I mentioned, was back. Blitz. Rampage came back, which was awesome. Freddie Falcon from the Falcons was back. Sir Purr came back. And Victor from the Vikings came back. So, again, a lot of returnees from last year. Now, unlike last year, the Mascots won this year. They won the game. It was close, though, but because it came down to those final few plays again. The Mascots got out to a lead. They raced out to a 22-6 lead early in the fourth quarter, but the Zionsville Peewee team in the fourth quarter, they nearly made an epic comeback, with 2 late touchdowns. But the Mascots made a final stop late and preserved the win. So that was absolutely huge. I was so happy. I was so excited that the Mascots pulled it out. It was just a great day all around. And for Matt to be there with me and experience it the day before my birthday, again, it just made it all the more special. Fun moment with Matt, though. Matt, see, I kind of play it safe. Like, I don't wear one of my mascot jerseys. Like, I don't wear my Toro jersey or my TD jersey, because I don't want to rub any other mascot the wrong way. I don't want to get in a fight, or my Lions jersey. But Matt was bold. Matt wore his Reggie Bush Saints jersey. And as soon as I saw that Freddie and Sir Purr were going to be on the poster, I'm like, oh, Matt, they're going to give you hell. They're going to give you grief because division rival. So Matt gets a picture with Freddie and Sir Purr, and immediately Freddie is taking that giant beak of his and chomping on Matt's head. Sir Purr is doing one of these numbers, like, I don't want to deal with you at all. It was the funniest thing. And, of course, Matt posted that to his Facebook, and it was funny. It was a fun day. It's so fun to just spend time with the Mascots. It's just so much fun. I always have a blast, whether it was at the Fanfare in Nashville at the NHL, and Matt was with me for that too, or the Mascot Pee Wee game. Whenever I spend time with these guys, it's fun. It's a fun experience. Because, again, I am very much like them. I have that same – as a fan, I have that same passion, that same energy, the same, fun-loving side. That's why I'm so gravitated toward them, because I see myself in them. So it's just so much fun to be a part of that. So the Mascots ended up winning it 22-18 was the final. Jackson DeVille from the Jaguars, another huge game for him. He was, he had a great game last year. But he was my choice this year for the offensive MVP. Blitz and TD kind of co-shared the offensive defensive last year overall. Jackson got my overall this year. He had 2 touchdowns. One right at the start of the game, interception return for a touchdown on the Peewees' first drive, on the Carnival Peewees' first drive. So that was huge. And then he had a touchdown on a brilliant, beautiful pass from Victor the Viking right to Jackson, wide open, back of the end zone. That gave the team a 22-6 lead. That was also awesome. And he had 1 tackle, so great game from Jackson. Defensive MVP was a lot harder, but I shared it between Blitz and Sourdough Sam for the 49ers. I would not have thought he would have a big game, but he kind of channeled like an inner Richard Sherman. He had an awesome game too. Blitz had 3 tackles. Now, he did throw a late pick, which kind of kept Zionsville alive. They kind of kept him in line for the win, but thankfully it didn't come back to bite the team. Sam, though, had 2 tackles, an extra point kick. Yes, he actually kicked it, I think. A fumble recovery on the early drive, and he also deflected a pass right before halftime. So he was all over the place making plays. So, so here were the full stats. Blue had a good day. Blue had a passing touchdown in the third quarter, actually, to Swoop for a 19-yard touchdown. Swoop was wide open back in the end zone. There was no Peewee near him. Swoop was wide open, made a great catch. So that was a great play. So that was a great throw by Blue. Also had a 2-point conversion to make it 22-6. Also had 2 tackles. He also threw an interception. But again, thankfully, I think that in turn led to a Peewee touchdown. But again, didn't come back to bite him in the end. Blitz again had a big Blitz didn't do anything offensively this year. He did a lot of that last year, but this year again was a defensive monster with the 3 tackles. Did have the pick, but thankfully did not come back to bite him. Toro had 3 tackles. Toro had a good day this year. Toro really stepped up his game this year. I was really proud of Toro for stepping up his game. Victor, of course, had the passing touchdown to Jacksonville and had a tackle. Bailey needs to stick to the ice. I'm sorry. Bailey did not have a great day. Bailey did have a half a tackle, but he also had a fumble. And he even posted that to his Twitter and said, I need to learn about ball security. So I think you do, Bailey. At least you can know how to poke fun at yourself. So kudos to you on that. But yeah, until you learn that, stick to the ice. It was nice of you to show up. It was nice of you to be there, but clearly I don't think football is your thing. Swoop had a good day. Swoop, of course, had the receiving touchdown and also had a tackle. Jackson, again, overall MVP, 2 touchdowns. The interception return for a touchdown. The receiving touchdown also had 1 tackle. Rampage had a tackle. T-Rack had a tackle. Sir Purr had a half tackle and a sack, so that was awesome. So good on Sir Purr. Sourdough Sam, of course, I mentioned his stats, the 2 tackles, extra point, fumble recovery, and the pass defense. Freddie Falcon had 3 tackles and an extra point, and Miles also had a tackle. Let's see. Staley and Poe did not have any stats. And the disappointing thing, here's the only one disappointment. Rory from the Lions was at the summit, and I thought he was going to be there. And so I was looking forward to meeting him for the first time because he's another one of my favorite mascots as well, from one of my favorite teams. I even got a Lions jersey, of course, with Rory on the back. So I was looking forward to meeting him. Go through the line twice, and I don't see him. Never showed up. I tweeted that on Twitter that I was a tad disappointed in the fact that he wasn't there. Actually, he reached out to me and said, well, something came up. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. But if you message me your address, I will send you some autograph cards as soon as possible. So I did. It's almost been 2 weeks. I still haven't gotten anything yet. So I don't know if it's just because it's getting busy with training camp coming up. I don't know if there's been other events going on that's been keeping that from happening. I don't know. So will I get it in the mail? I don't know. If I do, yay, he kept his word. If I didn't, I'll still be disappointed because I thought that he was going to, follow through. When someone tells you that they're going to reach out to you and promise you something, you think they're going to come through. So it's been 2 weeks and I haven't gotten anything yet. So I'm kind of getting a little worried, not mad yet, not fully angry, but just a little frustrated. But I hope I hope he comes through, and we'll see what happens from there. But fun day overall. I love getting to go to that and being a part of it. And another cool thing, and this is a possibility, maybe. Also, fellow YouTuber that I follow of mine was there again this year, NASCAR Fan 19, who's a big fan of the Rams, big fan of Rampage, wears his jersey every year. Saw him again this year, which is nice. Another Twitter buddy of mine and fellow mascot fan and a diehard Seahawks fan as well from Seattle, my buddy Carlos, has tweeted that he might try to make the game next year, and hopefully we'll get to meet. So that would be awesome if that were to happen. I would definitely look forward to that as well. So fingers crossed that happens, because I would love to meet some of these fellow mascot fans that I talked to on Twitter all the time. I talk to Carlos. I've already met Gerald from the Nashville area, from the Tennessee area, from Louisville. And I'd love to meet Jessica, though she lives on the West Coast, out in California. So I'd love to meet some of these mascot fans that I interact with on Twitter all the time, and Instagram as well. So hopefully next year, if Carlos comes out, I'll get to meet him. So that would be awesome if that were to happen. All right, a couple more stories here, a couple more non-pony related stories. Let's talk about a couple TV shows that are on right now that I'm watching. Well, besides Shark Week. Don't get me wrong, I love watching Shark Week. I've watched Shark Week for years, and it's 30th year this year. I've been watching Shark Week like crazy. I love Shark Week. But that's what I'm talking about now. Big Brother, speaking of the number 20, Big Brother is in its 20th season now on CBS. That's also hard to believe. I still remember the very first season of the show when it started, and it was just this tiny little show. Wasn't a big deal. There was no such thing as live feeds. It was all aired on TV, and the house guests nominated 2 people for what's called banishments, not eviction, and actually America voted for the house guest. There was no such thing as head of household. The House agreed to pick 2 people, and then America agreed to, I think, vote out who it was, and then America actually in the end picked the winner of the season. So I vividly remember a lot of the people from that first season. Chicken George, I think was one of the first ones to go out early. But yeah, I remember. Now I really started getting in the second season with, of course, with Dr. Will Kirby and Boogie and that whole thing, and then the X twist in season 3 and all of that going on. So I've been a fan from the very beginning of the show, but I got Nate on board around season 11 with Jeff and Jordan's season. So we've been super fans. I've been a super fan since the beginning. Nate's been a super fan now for 10 seasons. So we're avid followers of the show. We love seeing all the drama that takes place, the competitions, everything about the show. We always scrutinize, house guest decisions and gameplay and what have you, and the alliances and the strategies and and everything. It's just so much fun. So we watch episodes all the time. In fact, of course, we're watching tonight's episode tonight as well. When 8 o'clock comes around or 9 o'clock comes around, I think it's 8 o'clock tonight, and then 9 o'clock is like TKO. Right after those show watching is TKO, the Kevin Hart show, kind of like Wipeout meets American Gladiators. That's a cool show. Watch that too. So we watch episodes all the time. Usually, either we watch them live or the day after they air, because I get on my YouTube TV with my local channels, I can record them on the cloud DVR, and they stay in there. And as long as it's in your library, the episode records for you. So it's that's a very cool feature. Keep that going, YouTube TV. By the way, that's an awesome feature. So far this season, the BB App Store with kind of the tech twist, I think that's a neat concept. With the crap apps and the power apps being in play, is a cool twist. We both kind of have our favorites thus far in the show. And some of the power apps are still in play, so that's what's cool. So just going down the list, of what's been taking place so far. I mean, really, through the first part, I can't really fault like anybody's moves, except the fact with the first week when Caitlin came on board to the level 5, level 6 alliance with Tyler's group to vote Steve out. That was outstanding. That Swaggy side of the house, Swaggy C side of the house, had no clue that was happening. And then the following week, Caitlin wins HOH and then gets the back door to get Swaggy C out. It was another masterful week. And then last week though, I think Nate and I are both in agreement that was kind of a rough week. Scotty being the wild card and then putting up the bros, understandably being a power pair. That was interesting. But then Winston going home instead of Brett was also kind of shocking. But then also Brett throwing Rockstar to the bus was crazy. Just a lot of crazy things have been happening this season. So far, obviously we have 3 out of the house. Obviously, right now, I think, the level 5 alliance, Tyler's side of the house, is the strongest, and then maybe with Caitlin and Sam as kind of numbers on board because they voted with them a lot. Angela, to me, is also still very much a wild card. Yes, she's in the level 5 alliance, but she really hasn't done anything. We thought at first she'd be this super competitor, and really that hasn't shown in her. She's kind of laying low and not doing too much, behind the scenes. So it still remains to be seen if Angela's going to do anything crazy this season. But for now, I think she's still very much a wild card, even though she's sitting comfortably in the Power Alliance. Rockstar, okay, she's out there, but now obviously she's painted this big target on her back with this thing with Brett. Obviously she knows who she's going to go after. She and Brett are not seeing eye to eye now after Brett did that to her. She's clearly going to be gunning for him, and clearly he's going to be gunning for her. So that's a given. But as the other side of the house now begins to weaken, they've got to figure things out. They've got to figure out that Tyler's playing both sides. I don't know if anyone's going to figure that out because Tyler is a mastermind. Tyler's playing this game like a freaking genius. He is absolutely just killing it. The fact of how low key he's staying while playing both sides of the house. He very much reminds me of Derek. He is very much being cool, calm, and collected while playing both sides of the house. So even though this last vote did kind of show his cards a bit, I don't think they've still figured out that Tyler was the one that that flipped. So that's really crazy. Bailey plays this game too emotionally. Bailey is just, when she lost Swaggy, her only ally and her showmance, that was just, she then of course went on a tear. She now is ensuring every week, I'm not going to go up. She's playing hardcore, but sometimes playing too hardcore can be a risk to you. So I worry about Bailey down the line. I worry that she's kind of going a little too strong. Same with Brett. Brett now, of course, with that whole thing, painted a target on his back. Yes, him and Winston, you knew that, when he linked up with him as this bromance, you knew that was going to be targeted at some point. He had to have known at some point it was going to be targeted. Maybe not by Scotty, but, a true wild card. But we knew at some point that they were going to be targeted if they kept spending so much time together. But now with these stupid, crazy speeches, with the veto speech and the eviction speech, it's Brett, calm the F down, man. You're only making yourself look worse. So I'm worried about Brett's game going forward as well. Swaggy C needed to go. Swaggy C was all about himself. Swaggy C, he might have cared about his alliance, and obviously he adored Bailey, but Swaggy C was about himself. He was not playing this game for anybody else but himself. The people with big egos usually do not win Big Brother. On rare occasions, like a Dr. Will or a Boogie or an Evil Dick, somehow can find a way to win a season. But it rarely happens where a big ego player, just ask Paul from the last 2 seasons what happens when a big ego player tries to win the game. You end up with a bitter jury. And there are people obviously that think that, Paul got robbed of $1 million because he should have won the last 2 seasons because he was the best player. But when a bitter jury, doesn't think that you deserve it, that's what can happen. You don't win the big prize. So it's like big ego players now rarely win Big Brother. because people see them as too intimidating. They see them as too big a threat. They're playing too hard, and they make it about themselves, and they don't want to work with anyone else, or they don't see the power alliance that's forming on the opposite side of the house. Swaggy C's game was too close in the mirror, and not objects maybe closer than they appear in the rear view mirror. So sorry about that. So he was just so concerned with his own game and his own alliance, he didn't realize what was going on the other side of the house. And I know it might be hard to do sometimes in that house, but you have to be aware, at least in some instances, of what is going on around you. Fessy, again. Fessy is someone else that plays this game way too emotionally. There are a lot of people in this house this season that play this game too emotionally with their emotions. And I know it could be an emotional roller coaster. I know this game can be, yes, it can be an emotional mess. But there is such a thing as playing too emotionally. And Fessy is another prime example of that. Fessy is he has every right to be confused because he doesn't understand why someone keeps flipping votes every single week. But, it's like, he's so determined to blow up on, even said, I'm going to go blow up on someone. No, that's not going to make things any better for you, Fessy. It's not going to make things any simpler for you. It's not going to make things any better. It's only going to make you look more like a jerk and therefore more of a target on you. So that would have been the worst thing for Fessy to do. Stay calm, yes, you can try to figure things out. That's fine, but not in a purely blow-up negative way. Haley to me is also kind of a wild card, kind of a mystery. Haley is not someone that I expect really to win any competition. She's nominated this week against Caitlin for reasons I don't know why. Again, this is kind of an odd HOH week because Sam being HOH and then with putting up Haley and Caitlin, I'm kind of lost as to that. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. But Haley really, to me, hasn't done anything to justify being nominated. Maybe Caitlin, because of the fact that she's been kind of a flip-flopper and rubbed some people the wrong way in the house. But Haley really, aside from being on the other side of the house by association, hasn't done anything herself to be justified being nominated. So I found that kind of odd from Sam's perspective. But granted, on the last episode, there was a lot of emotions happening. There was a lot of situations happening and drama happening in the house that, maybe just led to, something happening like that. So I don't know. But to me, Haley's still a wild card. JC is, I will say this about JC. He's entertaining. He's our entertainment value of the season. Like whether it be, the fact that he's, his broken English or his conversations with people. Now, I will say the conversation with Bailey about the racial stuff and the words and that kind of thing, that was kind of again, that's why CBS had put out that disclaimer on the last episode that these are only views of the house guests. We don't share those same views. So that was a little bit. But aside from that, you can't fault at least JC for being entertaining. But in terms of, again, where his gameplay lies, that, again, is still very much a wild card. He really doesn't have a whole lot of allies. He's not in one of the power alliances. He's very much one of those kind of, I don't want to call them floaters, but kind of are in the middle where they're not tethering themselves to one of the major alliances. So, again, still very much a wild card. Caitlin is just, aside from, being the namaste yoga life coach, okay, we get that. We definitely see that side of you all throughout the house, and that you're getting these hits on what's going on in the house, which is stunning, by the way, that she's picking up on a lot of things that's going on that way. She also is just a hot mess because clearly I think Caitlin, doesn't – it's not that I don't think she's not intelligent, but it's just I think it's hard for her to really decide what kind of game she wants to play. Like, obviously, in the beginning, you know, she was trying to find her footing, and she made the Faute alliance thinking this is going to be the dominant side with Swaggy and with Fessy and Haley and Bailey and Rockstar. They thought they were going to be the main, you know, the main five, the main group. They weren't aware, though, of Tyler's side. And then Tyler got in Caitlin's ear, trying to swing her for a vote to get Steve out, and that's exactly what happened. Caitlin took the bait. Caitlin listened. And in that moment, Caitlin doomed her own alliance. When she took the bait from Tyler with his sweet, lifeguard, cool, seductive ways and genius gameplay ways, that literally ended the Faute alliance. There was no way that alliance could sustain ever again, even after Caitlin won HOH the next week. And that was kind of a death knell for the alliance too, because at that moment, Caitlin then had to decide what side she was on. She had to then realize, okay, now I'm HOH. Now I've really got to decide. Am I going to be loyal to the alliance that I just helped to get Steve out, or to Tyler's group, or am I going to be still loyal to my Faute group? She had to make the line in the sand. She had to pick in that moment. And then she made nominations, but she wanted to backdoor Swaggy. She had that plan in her mind all along. She was not trusting of Swaggy C at all. So she had made her decision right then and there to stick with Tyler's group. And clearly, again, that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because she went against the alliance she started. And then Fessy said right there and there, it's done. I mean, the alliance is the way it was is over. Yeah, we're still going to be on this side of the house, but she now is no longer a part of that. Caitlin is no longer a part of that. So Fessy knew right away that she had made her choice. But still, even through all that, yeah, she executed a perfect backdoor to Swaggy, and Caitlin should be applauded for that. But Caitlin is still making a lot of waves in this house for the wrong reasons. And I fear that that's what's going to doom her game. And she, I think, is the likely candidate to go home this week as a result, because of these decisions that she's made and because she's rubbed people the wrong way. I can't envision a scenario if the nominations stay the same this week. I can't envision a scenario unless Tyler really rallies for Caitlin and rallies his side and then gets Haley out. As long as he has the numbers, I can't envision a scenario where Caitlin stays this week unless Tyler's group rounds up the numbers and gets Haley out. So, unless that happens. But again, here's the thing with this week. Sam's Bonus Life app automatically this week is offered to the house guest that is evicted this week, because Sam didn't use it the first 3 weeks. So now this is the last week. So this is a week where, where it has to be automatically given to the house guest that is evicted for a chance to come back to the game. So really, this HOH week for Sam probably won't end up being great at all, because potentially the person that gets evicted her week could come back in the house anyway. So this week could all be a FUBAR smokescreen in the end, and maybe that's why Sam made the nomination she did, because of the fact that, I need, because my app is going to be offered to the person that gets evicted, maybe I want to offer it just to somebody who I want to see back in the game anyway. That's not going to be a threat to me. So I think that's the main reason, without telling the house guest why she did it. Maybe that's the main reason why she put up the 2 house guests she did, because I think Sam clearly likes Caitlin. She's, again, with that group before, and maybe she likes Haley. I don't know. She's not on that side of the house, but who knows? So I think Sam is just not trying to make a whole lot of waves, and that's a good thing. I think the HOHs so far this season are making too many waves. Obviously, Caitlin made a lot of waves when she backdoored Swaggy. Scotty obviously made a lot of waves when he broke up the bros. And now I think Sam, though, is trying to okay, my app's in play. It's automatically going to the person that's going to get evicted. I don't want to make too many waves this week. So I think she's kind of taking a safe approach, and I think that's an okay way to go. Casey to me is a complete wild card. Rachel to me is a complete wild card. They really have not done anything yet to really get a gauge on how they're going to play. They're obviously not great in competition. So to me, those two are just complete, even though Casey's in level 5, Rachel's on the other side, but right now they're just floating their way through the game. Nothing major on them yet. Sam is Nate's favorite. I don't blame him there. Sam Sam completed one of the biggest Big Brother turnarounds I think we've ever seen. Sam went from being a robot the first week of the game where she hardly had any social interaction. She was in danger. She was in serious danger of going home. Had Tyler not done what he did and got Caitlin's vote and flipped that around, Sam would still not be in this game. And so that's why she credits Tyler a lot for her still being in this game. And then after that punishment was over, she now is staying with Tyler's alliance, and it's paying dividends for her. And now that she has not only the HOH this week, but her app is in play, she's taking the right approach. She is a smart cookie, and I think potentially if she keeps playing this smart, I would love to see right now a final 2 of Sam and Tyler. I think right now that'd be my dream final 2 because they, to me, are playing the 2 best games in that house, bar none by far. And I think that would be a perfect final 2 scenario and a hard decision for the jury to make in the end. Scotty. Okay. I thought I would like Scotty from the get-go because Scotty reminded me a lot of myself, reminded me a lot of kind of the other quote-unquote nerds that have done well in the house in past seasons. I think I saw, Ian is kind of a nerd and he won. Andy was, I guess, maybe according to the same ballpark, kind of, shy socially, but still kind of a nerd, and yet he was the nice guy and he won. So I kind of put Scotty in that same vein. But then Scotty goes and wins HOH week 3, and he plays a big card right out of the box. Scotty, I don't know. I mean, yeah, was it a power move that'll probably be admired later on down the season? Yes. But in the short term, breaking up the bros, I don't know if that was the right move because, yeah, it got Winston out, and that was huge because Winston even told Scotty, you better make sure I go home. You better make sure I go home this week or I'm coming after you. He said that right to Scotty's face. But then Brett, it broke Brett entirely. Like Brett just then has these crazy speeches and the rock star thing. And so maybe that was Scotty's plan all along. If it was, it's genius. But I don't know. I'm still a little hesitant about Scotty. I don't, where is his head at? I don't know after 1 week is HOH where his head is at. And again, Winston with him and Brett needed to be out of there. Which was huge. Steve was the oldest guy in the house. I can't say I'm too surprised that he went out early. I can't say I'm too surprised at that. And again, I mentioned Tyler, and Tyler is, again, the mastermind. Tyler is, he's pulling, he's the puppeteer. He's kind of, in a way, not as diabolical as Paul, but he's somewhat pulling the strings because he's playing both sides of the house. And it reminds me more of Derek than of Paul. He's not doing it with like evil, malicious intent. He's more like a Derek that's just kind of picking and choosing his spots, talking to who he can talk to, manipulating his mind, who he can manipulate, and playing the field. So Tyler's playing a great game. Sam's playing a great game. I would love for that right now to be the final 2. I hope that happens. So another TV show, Battlebots. Another show that Nate and I are super fans of. Now me again, I've been a fan of this show since the original, since it first aired way back on Comedy Central, from the early heydays, and it was just I love that. I love the fact that they can build these machines and then go through all this carnage. I love it. It's awesome. But then Nate came on board when the ABC version came on board in 2015 when they rebooted the show. So he then came on board, and we've been hooked ever since. And as we've watched the competition over the time, I've always had a dream in my mind. I've thought, why, wouldn't it be great to just build our own bot? Wouldn't that be awesome? And I actually came up even with a concept to build our own. We have a concept called Scorpion Spike. We even have a team name called Scorp Robotics, which actually is an acronym. Scorp, Sound Construction of Robotic Performance. And we have an idea in mind. And if when we ever get enough funds and support, we're looking to bring it to life and hopefully compete. So it would be, we have a foundation in mind, we have the parts in mind, we have the weapons in mind, everything's laid out. So that would be cool if that were to happen. But so far it's been a very entertaining season. A lot of great bots. Obviously the regulars are there, with Tombstone, the defending champ, Bite Force, a former champion, Bronco, of course, just a lot of big names. So let me here pull up this list, and I'll see here. So right now, as of this moment, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bots that have fought at least once that we have seen that have a perfect record. Let's see if I can shrink my window here a little bit. There we go. So if we look here, there we go. So Bite Force, your 2015 champ, is 3-0. I think it's a pretty good likelihood that he's going to make the round of 16. I will say that he will probably get into the round of 16. Bronco is probably going to get into the round of 16, also 3-0. Huge has been an impressive rookie this season. First-time bot in the competition, but the design very unique. 2 huge plastic wheels on the sides with a vertical spinner in the middle that is lethal, that if it hits, you are in trouble. So I think another safe bet. Sawblaze is probably going to make the round of 16, a 3-0 record. Scorpios is 2-0. Tombstone, your defending champion, is 2-0. I think another safe bet to make the round of 16. Another rookie, Whiplash, I think potentially could make the round of 16, because not only is it a lifting bot, but also has a vertical disc spinner. So that one is a possibility. So the saw bots and the vertical spinners and Bronco, of course, the big flipping bot, are doing the best right now. So those 7, I think, are pretty much locks to make the top 16. There's a couple that we've seen, really, but I still haven't gained a whole lot of looking at that, might not be sure to get in. Gemini, Tantrum, and Warhead are all 1-0, but I don't know if I say I've seen enough of them to really gauge to say that they're for sure going to make the round of 16. Maybe if we see more fights down the line, then potentially we could see them further on. 3 bots we haven't even seen yet this season. That is Double Dutch, Parallax, and Ultimo Destructo. We have not seen them yet this season. Now, Ultimo Destructo, I believe, is in the bonus battle that airs tonight on Science Channel, so we'll get to see him for the first time this season taking on Axe Backwards. So we'll see him for the first time this season. So we'll get a sense of what he's going to do. But again, I can't really gauge what they're going to do yet. Brutus is 2-1. There's certainly a chance that he could make the field of 16. It's going to be close on him. I'm not going to say for sure he's in yet, but he has looked impressive this season. Duck, I think Duck is going to make the top 16. Maybe barely, but I think Duck is going to get in because Duck is built like a tank. Duck is not a very impressive bot, but just the way he's built, he can take hits and he can push bots around. So I think Duck is going to get in. So that's 8. I think Endgame is going to get in. Jack Barker and the job that he's done with Endgame has been nothing short of impressive season. Taking down some big bots in competition. They're 2-1. I think he gets in. I think Ice Wave is going to get in. Ice Wave is 2-1. Ice Wave's blade, nothing short of impressive. I think Ice Wave is going to get in this season. I think Monsoon is also a safe bet to get into the field of 16. Monsoon has been very impressive this season with a 2-1 record. I think he's going to get in. So there's 11. Petunia, while impressive, I don't know if impressive enough to get into the top 16. I'm still hesitant on Petunia. Yes, a 2-1 record is nice, but I don't know if there'll be enough in the end for Petunia to make the field. I'm really worried about Petunia. So I'll say there, not quite. Red Devil, I think Red Devil would be a good addition to the field. Red Devil's been very impressive this season, the 2-1 record as well. I think Red Devil gets in. So there's 12. Rotator, I think Rotator's going to miss it. I think Rotator's just going to miss the cut. I love the design. I love the 2 spinning discs. I love that, but I think that they're just going to fall just short. Son of Waiachi, I think, will get in. I think it'd be a shock if Son of Waiachi did not make the field. I think, with that spinning design is just too strong to miss this field. I think Son of Waiachi is going to get in. So there's 13. It'd be a shock if Yeti didn't get in. I think Yeti's going to get in. So there's 14. There's going to be some good bots that miss the field. And I think it'd be a shock of the 1-1 bots if Minotaur did not make the field, especially with its deep run last year. So there's 15. Now, I leave the 16th spot open for a reason, because there is going to be a special tournament once the Battlebots is also, speaking of hiatuses with MLP, Battlebots is also in a hiatus right now because of Shark Week. So there won't be any new episodes till August 3rd, which is next week. So because of that, they're going to, once the new episodes start, they're going to have what's called the Desperado tournament. They're going to have 8 bots that are still, we don't know who that is yet, but they're going to have 8 bots that are off to a slow start so far this season in their earlier battles, and they're going to put them in this single elimination tournament. And the winner of this tournament gets an automatic berth into the round of 16. So that is huge. So that means that, unless one of these other 1-1 bots is in this tournament, that means potentially, here, because here's the list of your bots that are 1-1 or worse. Your 1-1 bots right now are Basilisk, Deviled Egg, 4 Horsemen, Minotaur, but I think Minotaur is going to get in. Overhaul, big name. Sharkoprian, I love the design. Valkyrie, Warhawk, who's been impressive. Warrior Dragon. Witch Doctor would be a shocking omission. Blacksmith, who's 1 and 2. Free shipping, although they've struggled. They're 1 and 2. Hypershock would be a surprise. Lockjaw and Donald Hudson would be a surprise if he missed the field. Mecha Rampage is 1 and 2. Sub-Zero is 1 and 2. And then you've got the bots that have no wins at all right now. These are bots like Gamma 9, who's 0 and 1. Gigabyte, who lost to Tombstone, 0 and 1. Vanquish is 0 and 1. Axe Backwards is 0 and 2. Bale Spear is 0 and 2. Battle Royale with cheese. Just saying the name is stupid, is 0 and 2. Double Jeopardy is 0 and 2. Hypothermia, Kraken, Lucky is 0 and 2. Mohawk is 0 and 2. Surprise. Predator is 0 and 2. Reality is 0 and 2, and then a couple other big names that are 0 and 3. Bombshell, the finalist from last season, from season 2 years ago, who lost to Tombstone as a wild card, is 0 and 3 this season. So that's a surprise. Captain Shredderator is 0 and 3, and Chomp is 0 and 3 to start. So clearly, depending on who they put in this Desperado tournament, we could see potentially, a smaller name get in or a big name get in. We're going to see a lot of names that will not make the top 16 that are really these big name bots. So I've said now the 15 that I think are going to get in for sure, plus whoever wins this Desperado tournament. So that will be your top 16, I feel. Those are my predictions. So again, my 15 that I think are going to get in are Bite Force, Bronco, Huge, Saw Blaze, Scorpios, Tombstone, Whiplash, Duck, Endgame, Ice Wave, Monsoon, Red Devil, Son of Waiachi, Yeti, Minotaur, and then whoever wins this Desperado tournament. So those are my predictions for the 16 that I think will get in at the end of the day. So there you go. So yeah, so that is that. So real quick to close, I know I've been going on now for about an hour and a half here. So let's end with Pony. Let's end with some Pony talk. Let's talk conventions. This past weekend in Columbus, TrotCon just completed its 7th year of existence. Kudos to the TrotCon staff in Columbus. For the fact that it's been going on for that long, that's a huge testament to the work that they've done, and the fact that, while some other conventions have lost, ended over the years, we lost the con of Minneapolis, we lost the one, in Dallas with Nightmare Nights, so they're bringing another one back next year called Harmony Con. We lost Equestria LA, we lost some other big ones. The fact that there's still so many others still sticking around is an awesome testament to this fandom. So TrotCon, congrats to you for completing your 7th year. Drew 800 attendees, which is great for a convention that has been around that long to still have a consistent high number of attendees with 800 people. When we got 900 this year in Windy City in only our 3rd year of existence, and the fact that TrotCon still has 800 attendees in its 7th year, again, kudos to the TrotCon staff. That's a very solid number for a convention with a lengthy history. Had a nice group of guests of honor this year. Not exactly big names, but still some very beloved characters. Lauren Jackson was there for her first convention ever. She is the voice of Silverstream, one of the Student Six. Kyle Rideout was there. Oh, and I felt so jealous of that, because I'm like, I really want to meet Kyle Rideout. He, of course, is the voice of King Thorax of the Changelings. So I'm like, that would be so cool to meet Kyle Rideout. So I've got a few on my wish list now that I really want to meet. Kyle Rideout's one of them. Bill Newton, of course, is another. So I've got a couple on my wish list that I really want to see come to Windy City in future years. Ellie Ray was there. She is the voice of Miss Main, one of the pillars we saw from the end of Season 7. And Brenda Critchlow was there, the voice of Zecora, our resident rhyming zebra, who can heal, with the potions. So that was cool. So great lineup there. Obviously, that might have been a reason for the big turnout. But again, it's just a testament to the job that they do there at TrotCon. And this year's theme actually was Sea Ponies, so it fit that Lauren Jackson was there with Silverstream. So it fits the mold. And next year, I've read the theme is a steampunk theme, so that'll be interesting. That'll be different. The con has said they will return next year for 2019. And I've been kind of debating that, maybe consider a possibility attending. It's up in the air. I want to, don't get me wrong, okay? Windy City now is my home convention. I love attending Windy City. I look forward to attending it every year with Nate and Sarah. We look forward to it. We look forward to its participation every single year. It has become, our home convention. It has become, our home place. But with it being the closest to us. But, it would not hurt to maybe expand the horizon a little bit if we can make it happen financially. So yeah, it's a possibility. It's not a definite next year. It's a possibility. I want to at least see what else is out there and see what happens. Would I love to attend one of the big ones like Everfree Northwest in Seattle or BronyCon in Baltimore or what have you, or Ciderfest Milwaukee? Absolutely. But A, travel. B, saving up the money for 2 conventions. C, et cetera, all the logistics of trying to make it work is difficult. So it's just a matter of, would we be willing to, make that happen? So we'll see. We'll see down the line what happens. And if it does, it does. If not, we'll keep our one a year that we love going to. So, but to all of you out there, don't forget the big one is this weekend. BronyCon in Baltimore, the big one. The most attended every year is this weekend. And to all of you that are attending this weekend, I hope you have a fantastic time. Post lots of pictures, post lots of tweets. Nora, I know you're going to see Black Griffin. I know that. Don't pretend like you're not. I just have a blast. Have a great weekend. Enjoy every moment of it as I do at a convention. Live in the moment. Enjoy it. But don't forget, take time to eat. Take time to drink. Take time to get plenty of sleep. Shower, throughout the convention. Hand sanitizers. Try not to get the con crud. By now, the rules of conventions. So just be aware. Be selective how you pick your events. Pick and choose wisely. Manage your time. Don't let it manage you. And bring enough cash for the vendor hall. There's probably some great swag in there. So bring enough cash. That's kind of the rules of it. So have a great weekend. To every creature, every pony, anyone that's going to BronyCon this weekend, have an absolute blast. I hope to see a lot of great stories, a lot of fun times. I'm sure I'll watch AC Race Fest vlog again because I always do when he goes to a convention. So I'll sure be watching that again. I'll be following all the tweets from the weekend. So post a lot, post pics, share your experiences. I'd love to read them. Have a blast this weekend to anyone going to BronyCon in Baltimore. Finally, to end this episode, this special 20th episode of According to Spiky Dash, I want to talk about the book that I've read since Winnie City. And of course, that book is Sensation, and I've shown it on here before. Last month, I got the book in April, of course, at Winnie City when Vivid was there, and he signed it, and that was a cool moment. And last month, I finally completed the book. I will tell you this. I wasn't exactly fond of the ending. Now, I won't spoil it for you, but it seemed rushed. The ending was very rushed to me. It was like an ending to an episode of the show. It seemed very rushed. But overall, I was very satisfied with the story. I was very satisfied with the characters. I was very satisfied with all the twists and turns and ride that this book entailed. It honestly is. And Vivid, I will say this right here now. I'll tweet it to you if you want me to. I will say this to you now. It is one of the best books that I have ever read. And that is saying a lot because I've read a lot of books. It is one of the best. And I've shown you guys on the show. I already had my plush of Soren before I read the book. Because Soren is absolutely one of my top 5 favorite ponies. You guys can see on the wall how much way up here, how much I love the Wonderbolts. Soren, and he's my second favorite Wonderbolt behind Spitfire. Sorry, Soren. What? Don't give me that look. But I'm going to be honest. There were times throughout reading this story that I had to hold Soren close or just sleep with him at night because a chapter just hit me so hard. It's okay. This book, okay, it's not for the faint of heart, okay? I'm going to just be straight up with you right now. Yeah, you know. It's your story. It is an emotional roller coaster, okay? You also need to be able to stomach a lot of sex scenes in a lot of these chapters. Yes, it's in the book. Yes, it is. Don't you do that. It's in the book. But here's the thing. If you can get past that, and if you can focus mainly on just the story and the characters, believe me when I say you will have a very rewarding experience. Yes, you will. Yes. Vivid, you are an outstanding storyteller. Yes, you are. When I read a book, when I read a story, I visualize everything in my mind as I read that story. And with this story, Vivid made that super easy to do. He really did. And I was putting myself in Soren's situation. I was putting myself in his, I was going through what he was going through as I was reading. And at the end of the day, I ended up having more respect for Soren, for Brayburn, for the Wonderbolts as characters than I ever had before I read this story, than I ever have before. And that is saying a lot, considering how much I followed the Wonderbolts in the show, considering how much I've seen of Sword in the show and Brayburn. That's saying a lot. But that is a testament to vivid storytelling work. That is a testament to that work. But after this odd rushed ending, after that happened, I made a promise to this one. Yeah, I did. You remember. Yeah, you do. I made a promise that I would reunite him with the pony he loved in that story. And I would fix things my way. And you know what? That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. And now these two can be together here whenever. Okay, you two. They can be together here. And who knows, you know? I've been so impacted by this book that I think I'm definitely going to bring these two to Winnie City next year. I might even bring them to TrotCon. That's how much this book has stuck with me. It not only helps me to appreciate the characters more and appreciate this fandom more loving as a person. I guess in a way it keeps me open-minded. Like, it shows how loving we need to be. This world right now, in a lot of ways, is really messed up. We turn on the news every day, and there's always something on that angers us, frustrates us, upsets us, turns us off, makes us want to change the channel. Something that we don't agree with or condemn or get angry about, or something the president says or does, you know, something. But this book reminded me that there's still a lot of love in this world. And if we give ourselves the opportunity to show it, we can. We can and we will. And that's, again, another reason why I love being a part of this fandom, is because that we show so much love. There can be times where things upset us in the fandom. Don't get me wrong. There can be things that upset us. But we know how to handle them. We know how to direct our anger. We know how to deal with things. And we move on. And we continue to still be the respectful, loving, passionate, caring fandom that we are. And that's how much this book is going to stick with me. And it's going to remind me of that forever. So, Vivid, I cannot thank you enough for the work that you've done, for this book that has stuck with me, for just your incredible work in general, for being a friend. I thank you for that. You have been such an inspiration. And I cannot thank you enough for the job that you've done. Bravo to you, sir. You've an outstanding job. So, with that being said, I thank you all for watching, for your patience for this episode, for your understanding. It means, again, so much to me for you guys that watch, that subscribe. It means the world. So I thank you so much. What is coming up for the channel? Episode 21 will probably come sometime in mid-August, because the next video that will be on this channel will be the first episode of FFSR for the 2018 football season. Draft night has been scheduled for our league. It will be on this, not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday. It will be on Sunday, August 5th. Mark your calendars. Sunday, August 5th, 6:15 Eastern time. We'll probably start the stream a little bit early like we did last year, probably around 5:30, 5:45, just to kind of give maybe a little mini preview, little mini breakdown of what's to come. And then once things start getting in at 6:15, it's going to go fast. It's going to get hot right from the jump. The jump. I didn't mean that. Stop giving me that look. I didn't mean that kind of hot. It's going to get intense. So that will be, again, mark your calendar, August 5th, Sunday, 6:15 Eastern time here on the channel. So mark your calendar, and we'll see you there. Nate will definitely be with me. I don't know about Matt yet for sure. We'll have to wait and see if he'll be here on draft night this year. We'll see if that pans out. So thank you as always. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for your views, for subscribing. It means a lot to me. I love being a part of this fandom, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the episodes. Here's to the first 20, and to many more. Here's what's, for many more to come. Have fun again, everyone, at BronyCon, and I will see you again here in a few weeks for the first episode of FSR, and then the week following for episode 21 of ATSD. Thank you. God bless you, and I will see you on Sunday, August 5th. Thank you so much. Have a great night.